Hey everybody, good to see you. Trying to get this to work on this side over here. Give me just a minute. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Okay. Well, guess what? What is homeschool is what I want to talk about tonight. And so I know some of you kind of have these concepts or ideas in your mind of what homeschooling is all about. And tonight I'm here to blow some of those ideas because some of them are actually not right. They're not true. In Dickens, an author way back, he had a book called Oliver Twist. And in the book, it talked about the poverty in England. And this little boy, there's this famous line where this little boy is looking for more to eat. He's been working hard, maybe all day, maybe 10, 12 hours, and he is so hungry. And they finally feed them this mush that's really watery and not very much of it. And I mean, he slops it down and he's done. And he walks up to the person in charge and he says, "Please, sir, I want some more." And of course he doesn't get any. But you know, for a lot of parents, really what you want for your child is more. Where they are might not be bad. It might be okay. But what you really want is more. You want them to be more engaged in their school. You want that sparkle to come back for learning. You want them to feel safe when they go to school. You want them to get the math or the English. And you know that there's a struggle there, that there's a disconnect there. And you want more. You want to see them begin to reach their potential because you know they are amazing. You've seen the potential, but for some reason it's not showing up in their academics. So tonight, I want to talk a little bit about what is homeschool. I am Anita Gibson. I am a coach, speaker, educational strategist, and I have homeschooled and been in the homeschool arena for over 30 years, so I know quite a bit about it. So listen, when you think about homeschool, you're thinking about an individual, hands-on academic experience to help your child become successful. It's really just that simple. A lot of the images that we see on television are you say homeschool, they're quirky, they're weird, they're socially misfit, it's just a negative kind of thing. Let me tell you something. I have a secret for you. Many colleges today are looking for homeschool students. You know why? Because they have found that many homeschool students are better at independent learning. They are more organized and disciplined because they've had to practice learning some things on their own for a longer period of time. So they've been actually in high school going to classes, maybe a group class over here, an online class over there, and then they have to figure out how to get the homework done. Sometimes mom and dad is helping them, sometimes not. And so they have to learn to become independent learners. They have to learn how to learn. And so a lot of the colleges are looking at these homeschool students and saying, wow, we're noticing that they're coming in a little more ready to be able to actually handle the rigor of college. And it's a well-known secret, but it's becoming more known because people are beginning to realize that this homeschool thing is not for weirdos and strange people, that it is for some families salvation for your child. Because you know what you're doing right now is not working. Right? It's not working. Every year at September, you had your fingers crossed. You're hoping and praying that it's going to all work out and it's going to be better. And then June rolls around, it's the same old thing again. And you ask yourself the question, should I homeschool? But then the summer starts moving and you start getting afraid. Afraid that maybe you're going to ruin your child. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to give it your best. And then you put them back in the same situation again, hoping for a different outcome. But it's not coming. Why? Because for some of you, the solution for your child is homeschool. And so, maybe these are some of the questions you ask. Do I need a degree? I mean, teachers go to school for all these years to teach students. You know, how am I supposed to be able to teach my child and I don't have a degree? Well, you're right. Teachers do go to school for years to be able to teach students in school, and I honor teachers. I think they are the most important people on the planet after parents. I really do. However, when you're talking about homeschool, I want you to remember this. You are teaching your child how to learn. So it doesn't mean you have to teach them everything. You actually give them the tools. It's that old saying, you can give someone a fish or you can teach them to fish. Well, homeschool is about teaching your child to learn. And once you teach them to learn, guess what? They can learn anything. Does it mean you have to know it in order for you to teach them? Absolutely not. There are going to be classes you are not going to think about trying to go back to. When I was homeschooling our kids, we homeschooled our kids from kindergarten through 12th grade. I wasn't going back to learn chemistry and geography and geometry. I wasn't going to do that. So we were able to have what we call group classes where students came together and we hired tutors and they helped those students with those classes. And then we as parents, we helped on the days they weren't doing classes, or sometimes we'd hire tutors to help them get what they needed to get. Listen, homeschool looks very different for everybody. Did you know that even if you're a working parent, it's possible for you to homeschool? It just depends on your schedule. It depends on your support system. So now God is putting this homeschool thing on your heart. Do you think he would put it on your heart and not give you everything you need? Absolutely not. Do you see everything you need right now in front of you? Absolutely not. But you're not going to. You're not going to see all the provision that he has for you to do this, all the support that is around you to do this until you say yes, until you stop being afraid. In your heart, you already know it's the right solution. It's just the fear that keeps you from moving forward. But your child needs you right now. They need you to acknowledge you're afraid, but to step out anyway, just like you tell them. Okay, you're afraid, but it's something that you need to do. And so I'm here tonight to help bust some of the myths about homeschool. So you don't need an educational degree. The statistics show that there is no correlation between the level of degree a parent has to the level of success of that student. Next question. Do you have to be organized? No. Well, not at first. It's like you come into it just as you are, and then you begin to figure out, okay, what are the things that I need to put in place? I was a butterfly. I loved to get up in the morning when we first started homeschooling, and we'd go outside and play. And, we might do school at the playground, and we might go on a field trip. And before you know it, it was kind of like it was out of whack. And so I had to learn that I needed support. So I joined an oversight group. And an oversight group is administrators who check in on your work, who check to make sure you're doing work on a regular basis. And it helped me to get on track because I knew somebody was going to be asking me, did you do school? And how many days did you do school? And do you have enough work samples? And is this work to the level that it should be? Now, they helped me put all that together. And then they held me accountable in a loving way. Lots of grace. It wasn't this, oh, I'm in trouble, kind of thing. It was, come on, Anita, you can do this. So you got to know that you might not be organized, but you have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to get better at this for my child. Next question. Do you have to know what you're doing? No. What you have to do is connect with someone who does know what they're doing. Someone who can mentor you, who can coach you, who can take you step by step through the process. And there are so many oversights and coaches and those kind of things all over the country. So wherever you're watching me from, whether you're in Maryland or you're someplace else, I can coach you. I can help you with all of those details. But you also have organizations right in your own states. You have different kinds of resources that can help you with figuring out what to do for your child. That's right. Thank you. Hey, Lydia, good to see you. That's right. Where God guides, He provides. See, because this is the truth. And I hope I say this right. For some of you who are listening, homeschool is going to save your child's life. Literally. Because it's going to help them to pull out of an environment that is not supporting, for whatever reason, where they are, what they need. And it positions them to be able to get what they need, to begin to fill in the gaps, to begin to get excited about learning. Some of our kids are bored because the environment that they're in is not challenging them. In some environments, they're actually being held back because there's so much more they want to know. They stop asking questions because they get laughed at in the class. They stop exploring and wondering because it's not cool. And so some are struggling because they learn differently, but they think they're dumb and they think they're stupid. When it's not that, it's that they have a strength in another area, but they still need to get their academics up to a level where it does not hinder them. But the area that they're great in, it might not be academics. So they think they're dumb or they're not smart. But we know that's not the case because there are many people out there that are doing very well who didn't do all that well in school. And if you could just pull them out of that environment and help them find their strengths, help them find how awesome they are, they would be able to begin to then pull off all the lies and the false ideas that they believe in their head that maybe you've told them because you didn't know any better, that the teachers may be saying and the students around them may be saying. All of that stuff gets thrown off and they finally enter into this other world. It takes them a minute sometimes where they get to begin to figure out, well, who am I really? Some people find out they're really smart. And because they're in a more individualized environment, they don't have to be ashamed. Do you know that there are places in schools where children are ashamed to say they know the answer to stuff? So they act dumb. They act like they don't know because they don't want anybody else to know that they're smart. Do you know that there are some children who cannot learn in school because they're not safe? Because they cannot sit in that classroom and feel like they're in a safe environment because of students around them, just because of the nature of whatever the environment is. Some kids do fine in school. So this is not about bashing school. I'm talking to you if your child is not thriving. It's not simply because they're lazy or they don't want to get it. There are so many reasons for why they might be struggling. And homeschooling sometimes pulls them out of that environment and it gives you eyes to see what it is they really need. Sometimes it gives you eyes to see who they really are. Because sometimes we really don't know. All right. Any questions? before I move on? Let me give you another one that I hear all the time. Some people say, I couldn't possibly be at home with my kids all day. That would just drive me crazy. I look forward to them going out the door to school. I understand. I was a businesswoman when God called me to homeschool my children. I was not looking forward to coming home and being with them every day. In fact, I also worked part-time. But when you realize God has called you to something, you have to stop making excuses. And you have to stop saying what you can't do. If he calls you to it, if you're feeling a tug in your heart, if your children are asking you to homeschool them, just like Lydia said earlier, where God guides, he will provide. So I'm encouraging you to stop, let the excuses go, because you can do this. So when I think of homeschool, everybody does it differently. There are some moms who literally sit at a table, at the kitchen table. They sit with their child and they work through their work. Some who, when their kids get older, they're able to give them assignments and they go do other things and they check back. There are others who work and they actually send their children on Tuesdays and Thursdays to group classes or co-op. And they allow another person, a tutor, a teacher, to help their child with those subjects. The child gets homework assignments, and then they come home and they work on those assignments on those other days. For parents who work, sometimes they will have tutors on those other days who then help those children with their assignments. There are many different ways to homeschool. You don't have to do it like anybody else. So you don't have to be afraid, because if God is calling you to do it, then he has a way that works for your family. We homeschooled for almost 25 years, 3 children from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. And all of our children are doing fine. They all had access to college, scholarships, fellowships, doing amazingly well. Because mommy's so smart? No. Because we taught them how to learn. Our oldest daughter had the opportunity she received a scholarship to American University, her bachelor's degree. And when she got to the school, one of her first classes was a statistics class. When she got into the statistics class and the teacher found out she was a homeschooler, he watched her like a hawk, expecting her to fail. When the class was over, her teacher sent me a note. And you know what he said? He said, "Good job, Mom." And I thought to myself, wow, I didn't teach her those higher levels of math. But what I did was I gave her access to the tools that she needed so she could soar far beyond her mommy. She has a master's degree. She works for the State Department. She's traveled all over the world. She's probably visited at least 50 to 75 countries. And she's only 33 years old. And so that's the beauty of homeschool. It positions you to help your child be who they are to be. They far surpass you. And that's the goal. She's way smarter than I am. And I am so happy about it, because that's what God had for her. So you don't have to be afraid that, well, I don't remember how to blah, 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 or I wasn't good at la, 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 la. You know, the funny thing is some things I got better at as I homeschool my kids. I got the chance to go back, and as I was helping them with their homework and things, I relearned some things that I didn't remember and I didn't get the first time through. So I got a little smarter as I went through helping them. So what is homeschool? It is the way that you help your child to find out who they are, to find out their purpose, to receive what they need to be who God has called them to be. You only get one shot at this, parents. You don't get to do this over again. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, I got to work and I still got to do this and I'm in school, and listen, you are your child's advocate and champion. There is no one else on the planet who will advocate for them more than you. It's not the teachers, it's not the administrators, it's not the laws, the officials of our country. You can be the difference for that child. You are not bound by anything. You do not have to wait for anyone. You have the freedom if you do not like what you see. If things you're doing you don't like, do something different. If what you've been doing's not working, please don't do it again next year. And this is the thing. If you are here and listening to what I'm saying today, you are going to be held accountable, because now you know that you don't have to go it alone. There are people that are out there to help you. And so God is expecting you to answer the call. Do you need more information? Of course you do. You need to do some more research? Yes. That's what I'm here for. I'm a coach and I help with those kinds of things. You can check me out at AnitaGibson.com. You can also check me out on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram at AnitaGibsonEDU. I'll answer any questions that you have. I know this is not easy, but for you, it may be the defining moment. This may be the pivotal point in your child's future. And let me tell you one last thing, Mom. 20 years from now, when you look back, it will not matter how much money you made. It will not matter how high of a job, how high you were able to go in your job. The only thing will matter, really, is if your child is successful. And listen, sometimes we give them all we have and they still don't make the right choices. But the worst thing a mom can have is regret when she knows that God told her to do something that she did not do. Please don't let that be you. You will have a level of peace in your heart when you know that you've done what you were supposed to do. Whether they do well or not, regret is something I don't want you to have. And so I pray tonight, I pray God would bless you with confidence. I pray He would let you know that you are more than able. I pray that He would let you know you are your child's champion and they need you on their team. They need you to believe that they can, and they need you to do something different on their behalf. All right, guys, I love you. I pray you have a wonderful evening, and I'll be back. God bless you. Yeah, hey, Mercy, good to see you. Yes, it's a regret that you don't want to have. And Mercy has an amazing story about her own sons. One of her sons who was in school in the struggle. And I would hope maybe one day that I would have her on so that she can share her story. Because sometimes some of the struggles our children are having has to do with our own perspectives about them and how we need to learn how to nurture and love them in a way that they get it. And I'm so proud of her because she got it. And her son is doing well. All right, guys. Good night. Love you.